This is another one of my little instructional, well, not so little actually, instructional videos on how to paint wagon and coach wheels, especially on ready to run when they're already installed. My little story starts with this magnificent, well, Hornby P2. This is not the railroad version. This was the posh one at the time, though they're about to bring out a completely retooled version. This was of the design clever era, where various things were moulded in, but still with a little bit of mild weathering that I risked doing and changing a few of the missing paint details. I think it looks pretty good. Anyway, when this came out, oh, I don't know, was it about 10 years ago? Or maybe not that long, but they had stopped producing the Gresley Teaks, which they bought out earlier to go, that would be suitable to be pulled with it, which was rather annoying at the time. But slowly, through various shows and that, I collected quite a little collection, enough for a rake, but I might want more. So while I was collecting these, I also decided, there's a kit to be built. There's the what do you call it? Extended CCT van or something. And in the interim, the magnificent Rails of Sheffield Dynamometer car came out. So I've got one of them. These are fantastic. But then at the time they were about £125 each. Now the other day I saw one on eBay for £250 from a legitimate seller. Was it the Model Centre, in fact? But as what this is all about, it's all about the wheels. Notice the fantastic detail, but the wheels are silver. Anyway, they're bare metal. They forgot that bit. I'll come back to that one later. So last year during lockdown, I plucked up quite a bit of courage and decided that these bright white roofs and things, I'd weather it a bit because it always improves it. And here's one of the Hornby Gresley Teaks with weathered roofs and weathered under stuff, what you call it, you know, down here. Can't think what you call it now. But again, we have those bright silver wheels. It wasn't until I built this kit, which has also appeared as a guest appearance in one of my other little videos, of this, was it 579 Pigeon van. And of course that is a kit, so the wheels are separate and in your hand. And I thought, wonder what they should look like. So internet searches revealed a real one of these. Magnificent it is. And that's the Norfolk Railway, and that very obviously had wheels in the tan with white rims. The tan colour, I looked at the photograph and thought, well, that's as near as, damn it, the same colour as those ducats they paint, of which the nearest colour I've got in Hornby for that, and it doesn't look wrong to me, is Hornby colour satin 133. Yeah, you can see that in the light. And the white is also satin. I find satin and gloss, gloss isn't so easy to paint. And matte is, but it's not so good to get, if you get some over paint from the other colour on it, not so easy to wipe off. So this is satin 130, which I actually highlighted in to make it easier for myself to find with a, what was it, a indelible pen. Anyway, with this one, I actually painted the wheels with the wheels in my hand, i.e. like these Bachmann ones, which are very similar looking wheels anyway. It might even be Bachmann wheels looking at them. Put that down. Now, what I did, where's the cocktail stick? Let's zoom in, as we've now worked out how to do that. There we go. What I did was I painted the wheels brown with that tan, call it tan, and then I painted the white round it, which is a logical thing to do, I thought. Like if you do a car and you paint it, you put the pinstripes on after you painted the body colour. But that was quite difficult because the white paint kept flicking around the edges because the bristles splay out. There's an example. That's a typical brush. When you push down on that, see, they splay out like that. That doesn't work, and that's right difficult to get that round there. And you've got to keep trying to turn it, which is just wobbling about all over the place. You can't spin it. So I then thought, right, I've got all these ready to run wagons. So I thought, right, first thing you do is take all the wheels out. That'd be easy. Like hell is it? They won't come out at all. Those side pieces for the bogies are so thick they hardly deflect at all. Oh, this is no good. I'll try painting it on the wagon, thinking that'd be a really difficult thing to do. It's not. It's easy. Hence this video. But you've got to paint it in the right order, and it's back to front from the natural logic of it. You paint the white first on the wagon. Where's that wheel? So, and then if it does flick down here, so what? The colour that goes over it is darker than white, which easily covers it up, the brown. So you paint that white, and anything that gets on the outside are quite easy to wipe off on the bogie. But when you paint the brown, because that corner in there is quite deep, your brush, which is this one actually, if it's wet, and I haven't got any wet there, it actually fits in there quite well like that and doesn't splay out, and it goes round. And when you turn the wheel on the bogie, it goes round a piece of cake. And I thought, oh, not one bit went on the white. Well, when I did it last time, it probably will on this demonstration, just for sod's law, but there you go. So that's what I decided to do. So the white goes on first, then the main body colour of brown, tan. But let's get this loco out of the way now. I was just there to show it because it's a nice loco. I'll bring it back slowly. You can see anyone who's got one of these might be able to spot the differences that I did. Oh, sorry about the squeaky noise, that's the foam rubbing on. Spot the differences to what the one you might have. There are very little bits and pieces I've painted, and not how Hornby did it, but mainly through looking at an awful lot of photographs on the internet and photographs of the CAD model of the new Prince of Wales, which I'm a contributor to the build of that thing, so I might get a go on it one day, hopefully. So I'll zoom back out again. There we go. Now, you can see, there we go, using my little foam cradle, very useful for all this stuff. What you got to do, because you got these things and you don't know how much any fluff or light oily greasy stuff there may be on the wheels to make it painted here, so it needs a degrease. So I simply use, can you see that? Bit of methylated spirits. I'll do this one. I've actually already done it, but I'll just go through the process for the film. But on one side anyway. So this is quite a stiff brush. That's not a painting brush. It's more of I got it at an automotive sort of type shop, like Halford's, but a private one, and they had some of these and I thought that looks handy. Bought a few, it's only like 50p each, but they're perfect for doing things like this, degreasing, because they can push down onto the wheel quite hard. Now what can you see? I need to zoom in again, don't I? Right. That lighting's a bit ho-hum. Okay, so you can put this cradle, holds the coach nice and safe. Just push down on the bogie. I've got the meths on it. Where's the meths? There it is. Stuff it down the side and rotate the wheel a couple of times. Alright. It also does the running face as well. So, because you tend to do these sort of as an afterthought, maybe months or even years after you've had the coach, when you plucked up courage, or once you've got enough of them to do as a batch. This is best done as a batch, not one at a time, because then you forget how you did it each time. Ooh, my hand's in the way there. Oh dear, that's awkward, isn't it? Well, basically I'm doing that on all the other wheels. I can't do it any other way because my hand gets in the way of the camera. Alright, then you turn it over and you do all four on the other side in the same manner. Just lift the brush off, wipe it off on a bit of towel. This one won't be dirty, but the first time I did it there were some little particles appeared, to prove that it had cleaned it a bit. So that's that stage. It has to be done on all the coaches in one go. Don't do one coach and paint it, next coat and paint it. Do all of them, everyone you've got. It's a lot easier that way in stages. Speeds the process up no end. Alright, the next thing to do, and some of you probably don't need to do it, but I've done it anyway because this is interesting. It's got a story, this next type bit of paint. Let's see if I can explain this reasonably well. I prime it because some paints don't like sticking to metal, hence why primer exists. Now you can use your normal model metal primer, whatever that you happen to use, but I've got something extra special. You won't be able to get it, but this is interesting anyway. This stuff, we still zoomed in, that's not going to zoom out, is proper aerospace, the yellow acid etch paint primer, not to be confused with etch primer, which is actually just an acid spray to make which car sprayers use to make a new shiny panel a bit rougher, which is basically just acid, which they then wash off or wipe off. This is actually a primer. Have you ever seen an aeroplane from the Second World War that dived into a bog, or they crashed into a bog, and they pull it out like 60 years later, and you think, oh, I can still see the paintwork. It's this stuff that stops it rotting. It's fantastic stuff, but it's quite lethal. Now, this is the actual make that was given to me by the company, because I worked in aerospace and I helped them out, so I wanted some of this stuff for my motorbike. And it's got the great name of the Indestructible Paint Company, which was, once heard, you don't forget. And it's British, made in Birmingham, and it is the British standard BS X32. Okay, 2-pack. Now it's supposed to have a pot life of 8 hours. Well, this bottle here has had a pot life about 5 years, and it's good enough. It's no, we wouldn't dare use it on an aeroplane, but it works fine on metal and models and motorbikes. And I've got a whole new couple of litres of the stuff in the shed anyway. But it's now been banned by the European REACH, which is I can't remember what it stands for, but it's dangerous chemicals. And the main reason it's banned is not the acid in it, which is phosphoric acid, apparently. I actually rang the chairman of the company up today, because back in the day I was told it was nitric acid. It's not, it's phosphoric acid. And I was also told back in the day it also had cyanide in it. It hasn't, though it does smell a bit almondy. So I'm not sure about that. But the dangerous ingredient, because it's reasonably carcinogenic, is chrome 3, which is it's called a chromate. And aerospace uses chromates everywhere. So this particular one, which is the better one, the old one, is now banned. So I've got something that no one else in the world can buy anymore. And I've got a brand new tin of it. Anyway, it's a 2-part. You mix it up, and it's a special bottle that stops it drying out, which is pretty good. It's like water. See it? That's actually paint. Look how I look. It's like water. See it splashing about? Hear it? Which is good, because it means it's easy to apply by brush. You do not want to spray this stuff. Well, you wouldn't spray the little wheels like that anyway, because if you did, you need a proper spray booth, mask, respiration gear, the works. So you do it by my patio door, which is open. I better shake up a bit more than that actually, because it does get a little bit of solids down the bottom. Right, so I'll attempt to apply some of this stuff and show you what brush I use to do this. And it's not this great big thing, that's for sure. Let's put that out of the way, don't need that anymore. Right. And you wash the brushes for this type of paint in cellulose thinners. Not only a little bit in there. Right, the brush I use is a little brush, little flat brush. Is that going to focus on that? No, it's not big. Come on. Come on, focus, focus, focus. See? Flat. They're perfect for this sort of thing. And this is a Reeves number 2. And it fits in. Let's see, can you see? Yes, you can. It fits in there just nicely. So, that, yeah, loosen the end up so it's soft. So, dip it in there. It has got a greeny yellow colour. It's actually yellow when it's really flush, not unlike that what you can see through the camera now, that rust colour. So if you do daub a bit on the plastic, it won't matter, it'll blend in. So just put it on the rim and see, just turn it around. You can't even see it in places. Put it in there. It's like water. One daub would just do it, so you can hardly see it. So if you can see like a little bit there, it's so thin. But that is all you need to do. I suppose you'll have to use the Umbro number 1 or something. Or you probably can cross your fingers and avoid the primer stage altogether. So just rotate it, supporting the bogey with the other bit of my hand here, at the back here. That's resting on the bogey, keeping it still. You can't see, can you? There we go. Let's rotate it. And this is how we do all the painting processes, actually. Right. So I'll leave that, and you leave that overnight. Because at work we used to bake this stuff for about an hour or so at 190 degrees C, but you can't do that with a plastic model. You will have no model, just a blob left, afterwards, or it'll go up in flames or whatever. I don't know, but that's as easy as that, and you can hardly see it. I don't know what you can see. Can you see the paint? Just got you can see it at that angle. You see it's got a slight greeny tinge. You can see it on the main wheel bit, not the flange so much. I mean you can see it slightly. There's a slight greeny yellow tinge. That's it. It's literally like green water. I don't know if you can see it in here. See it? Look at it. It's literally like water, which makes it so easy to apply. And you haven't got to worry about brush strokes or runs. It's so thick, it dries almost, I don't know, half a thou thick or less. It's brilliant. So now, dry the brush, well, wipe it clean. Always put the lid on this stuff, and don't breathe it as long as you have to. Zoom out again. So, have I covered everything on that? I hope so. If not, I'll think about it, because I'll probably do a pause at a minute, because the next stage will be the white paint, because I've done from these coaches. There's a whole batch over here, all done at different stages. This one's all, no, not that one. This one's already got it on and it's dried on there. You can see it in the light there. You can see it. The difference between the wheel flange is silver and the wheel hub, or whatever I call it, that has got a matte greeny brown tinge to it. That's that paint. So the next stage is adding the white, like that, which I'll show you in a minute. I might do a pause and start again tomorrow, I don't know. Let's see. I have to do this, I can't put this down because it will dry on the brush and ruin this rather nice brush. Alright, so best was it Blue Peter Fashion is one I did earlier. Here's the coach with the now dry acid etch paint primer. Put the word paint in there to differentiate it. Now I've already given the white paint a stir, and using that same Reeves 2 brush, a little flat chisel like one if you like. I think this is the brush I used when I first did it. I can't remember. I'm going to give it a go anyway. Alright. You don't want to wipe all the paint off. You want to leave it semi-liquid on it. Are we? Yeah. Can see that or not? So it's not dipped in and then wiped off just to leave a smear on it. You want to use as much as possible on it so it's not dripping. Let me get that. Like that. Get over there. Again, right, holding it down. Maybe you want to push it over a bit so it locks. Keeps it. You want to keep it still. You don't want it wobbling about like this while you're doing this. You've got to try and keep it as still as possible, which is not easy because it's got some articulation like that because the NEM coupling is articulated. So, oops, that's it. Let's rip the pipe out now. Great. Let's get all fingers and thumbs doing this. Alright, so let's hold it down like that. That might be better. See that? I don't know if you can see it. And we just bring it in and touch it. Revolve it as much as possible in one go. That's a lot easier than trying to hold it in your hand, I can tell you. Still not perfect. Just keep going around. Don't push the brush against the metal. Just let the paint touch it rather than the brush. There you go, like that. See? All there. I'll do a bit more paint. Not too much, but enough that it is a slight blob. You can see it's a blob on it, but not a dripping blob. You want the paint to touch the rim rather than the bristles. Touch it, rotate. Now you can see that way it's just gone down onto the wheel. Oh, never mind, doesn't matter. Rotate it if you have to. The other side, like that. There we go. Now, I'm going to wipe the brush off. I'll use the same brush. Well, I could have used another one, but I'll have it slightly damp. And if any paint has gone on the, I don't know if you can see, we got any paint? Turn it around here. Oh, there's a little bit. Where are we there? That one's not so bad. We just rest the brush. Sorry, this is not centered, but it's the shape of these wide panoramic lenses. Let's do that. Let's keep going round and round and round. Don't let the bristles splay, just gently touch it. A little bit on the edges won't matter. Get more thinners on it. Not too much, as it'll run. Just damp enough to get it to come off. Another reason why you don't want fast drying acrylics. By the time you got this far, it would have dried on, or at least dried enough that you can't remove it. Can you see? Oh, I don't know if you can see any of that. Just realised. Let's try and do that, I suppose. There we go. Not the sort of thing you want to do with an old brush with bristles pointing in all directions. You could end up marring the original bit on the side face that you do want to keep. Well, this hasn't got to be absolutely perfect doing this. just enough that you don't leave dirt on the track. But this is a lot easier because you can just move the wheel like this on its axle, and you can't do that if you're holding the whole thing in your hand. You just can't. It is actually a lot harder. There we go. What's that look like? Is that all right? Bring it up. You can see. Let's try and get it level with the. See, there's some white paint in there, in that arc there, moon, crescent, doesn't matter. Could put another coat on if you really wanted to, I suppose. But when it's upside down and like that on the track and you're looking down on it, you don't see much anyway, do you? Only see like that sort of angle. So, but they do look a bit better than the steel. Oh, shut up. Metal coloured. Right, so I can't do the whole lot because all you'll see is my big elbow in the way. So I'll leave it there as far as the white bit's concerned, and move on to the base colour for the main wheel, the browny tan colour. Put that back. So we won't be. I've got to wash the brush anyway to make sure it doesn't dry and ruin that brush. And another thing, when you've got special shaped brushes, don't just leave them like that. The ends will round up and then you lose it. You don't get the chisel anymore. You get like a burr on the end, like a quiff. You don't want that. So wash it, dry it, put it to one side. Right now, so we say that's, we've done that one. Come back to the one that's already had the white done in advance. Make sure the coach doesn't roll off onto the floor. This one I think was a grey roofed one. Anyway, it's weathered differently. They all, even if they started white, they don't end white. Right, so here's one I did earlier. Haha. Now, this, I've got to stir the paint. Where are you? There we go. You see what I'm doing. And use the old screwdriver. Don't use your paint stirrer to do that. Good, it's still alright. Devastating to take it off and find it all dried up. Yeah, it takes quite a while to stir this. Good quality paint, this one. This goes on not nicely, this colour. You definitely only seem to need one coat of this one. You can still see it's all in the bottom though. So that needs to be fully stirred. Sometimes you wish Hornby wouldn't put quite so much paint in their tins. So it's spilling over the edge. Nearly there. Right, that drain off. Get the worst off. Like that. Come on, get off. Right, a bit of tissue paper. Kitchen towel thingy. Right, this one uses this quite big brush that I showed you earlier. Oh, this Tasma, this is fine hair. It's quite soft. This one, wet it first, and that brings it into a nice shape. Don't drip it on there. What's wrong with that zoom today? Should be zooming on it, it's not. Right. Hopefully this works. Right, make sure I put the paint over there, not in front of me. Right, what can we see? Can you see? If you remember, I was talking about this wheel and the paintbrush. Come on, focus. There we go. Fits in there rather nice. It even bends around with the wheel, which makes this job on the carriage a lot easier. Dip it in the paint, and with this one, since these wheels don't come off, and you can't see the center of the wheel, going right down to the axle pinpoint bearings is not critical. Right, let's hope this works. So I'm assuming you can see what. Let's get that in there. Well, hopefully don't go and touch the white. So go in nice and slowly. Touch it, slight bend in it, and rotate slowly. Come away slowly. As you can see, there's no overspill onto the white whatsoever. Now put the brush a bit at a slight angle now and do the inner bit of the wheel without edge touching that white bit. Like that. Come away. I'll do the other one. Bring it a bit. We can zoom in a little bit to make this easier. I don't know. Can we? There we go. What can we see? Right. Bring the brush in. Touch the wheel. Move into the ridge. This one's not so easy, this side, because you can see the bogey's moving. But still, if you do it slowly enough, you've got control. Oh yeah, I managed to go all the way around. Is there a bit in that corner there needs doing? Yeah. You can actually put a slight upward pressure, like that, see it? Against the edge. Get right in that corner. Very slight pressure. Then move down into that. That goes the inner wheel bit. I did slightly touch that one, I think. Well, there you go. It wasn't difficult. Actually, using that previous brush, if you do touch it, I think that looks like, I'm not sure if that's a slight touch just there. Oh yeah, just there. I think that just takes it off. That one all right? Yeah, so that wasn't difficult. It helps to have a good eye and a steady hand. And I've definitely got the steady hand. Eyes not as good as they were, but they're not bad. Now I've got these special trifocal lenses from the optician, especially for doing this work. Alright, so I'm not going to do any more today, just showing you it. So there we go. Can you see? Oh, that zooms in alright, doesn't it? Ooh. Oh, I'm still upside down. I have to be upside down. Not bad. It gets in there, see, most of the way. Give them a turn. See, not bad. Going up there far enough that you won't notice. Don't go doing the inside of the whip in case you ever change your mind and want to put lighting in it and need to have contacts to pick up electricity. Leave them alone. You don't want to be that realistic. So that's what you started off with. And this is what you ended up with. That's what you see when you're on the, you'll see about like that actually, not a lot. I think that looks pretty good. This adds that extra bit of colour and interest down below. This is an extra little bit. I've just decided to emphasise why it is more important to do the white before the tan, or any other colour, black as maybe the inner main colour. So I'm going to deliberately paint this this wheel here, that one, badly, and then I'll wipe the paint off just to show how quicker it is to get the brown off the white than it would be to get the white off the brown. So there's the tan colour on the nice round brush that is flexible and can get in there. Now I'm actually having to look through the camera to do this. This is not so easy. So it'd be bad anyway because I can't see what I'm doing. So you can get as close up as possible. So get in there and get in that corner. Oh look, oh dear, I've gone over the edge. Oh dear, there you go, lots of it. Get around there. And what you got to do is when you're doing this and rotating it, you look, you can see my brush, you look right in there and you don't see any white on the inside rim, the corner bit. Also then put your brush down there to get nearer the axle. Doesn't have to touch the axle, but just to get in there. Like that. And we put some paint here and there. There you go. Oh dear, I've splodged it everywhere. Right, so with a relatively new, this is important, nice chisel brush. It's actually a very cheap one, this. Got it in the local art shop. But it's definitely flat. You don't want one like I was using the other day, which made it really difficult, like this one. You see, that's that Reeves, that's that Reeves number 1. I gave up with that. You see the fluffy bits around the edge where I used it for weathering, when I shouldn't have done because it was actually a new brush when I started using it. That's why you use old brushes for weathering. So I made a perfectly good brush, old, very quickly. Don't use that. You want a nice, smooth, chisel edge, flat. Right. So I get some thinners, terps, or that's actually white spirit, but of the age I am, everything you call is white spirit, you call terps. Right, and because and you just lay the back against that way around. Don't try doing it like this because any bristles may go into the main hub area. You do it this way and there's no way then the bristles can get in and rub the paint off except where you want it to rub off. So just rotate it around. Paint should come off relatively easy. Off the perfectly dry white, so you're not wiping the white off. You can rotate the wheel at will, obviously, which you can't do very well in your fingers. Get the paint off, dry it, so it's just damp. You do not want free spirit rolling off the brush because that could drip into the hub and make the paint run. You just rotate it around. So we'll get a little bit that chases around. Anyway, this is no effort, no skill required, apart from staying still. There we go. I'll make sure there's none on the bottom of the bearing, bogey bearing bit, like that. There we go. I'll zoom in on that. Can we zoom on that? Okay, if I rotate it around, it should show how good that tan. It's a lot easier to apply than that white is. That's awkward, that is. But that is easy. That one should be the same. Right. Goes on nice and even. Piece of cake, that. I keep calling this stuff Hornby paint. Oh, you can't see that because I'll zoom back out again. It's obviously not. It's owned by Hornby. It's Humbrol. Begins with H. It's actually owned. I just said it's owned by Hornby now. So it is technically Hornby paint as the mother company these days. It's Humbrol, which is a Humber oil company, which I may have explained on this video or some other video. Made in Hull. It was anyway. Probably isn't anymore. Anyway, so there you go. And put the reminder what it looks like. I will probably show all the coaches together so you can see the effect on the wheels. It's later on. That's what it looks like. It's pretty nice. Oh, it's very nice actually. I also own, as I pointed out earlier, I think, and it's not an extended C, it's called an extra large CCT van. And this is a Hornby one, which looks a bit plasticky when you first buy it in basically the teak colour. I presume it's not actually teak, just painted to look teak, but ran, so I'm told, with the Gresley teak carriages. I weathered it, but I had no idea again what colour the wheels were. And I thought, well, it's basically teak coloured. It might also have, as this is a wagon, and basically so is the Pigeon van. You know, it's only really a wagon, isn't it? A bit posh for a Pigeon van, for God's sake. But it's lined out where this thing isn't. But so I wanted to know, are those wheels, what colour are they painted? Because I also checked out this wagon. Not wagon, this is definitely a coach, isn't it? The Dynamometer car. Now, I've seen this in real life and on the internet. It's up at the NRM at York. Now, when you look at the pictures on the internet of this at the real one at York, you'll notice the wheels are black with white lining around the rim. I thought, that's funny, why isn't it tan? So I've actually emailed, I actually rang up the North Yorkshire Moors Railway, who also have the LNER Coach Association, but you can't get in touch with them. They don't have a phone number, but the main railway has. And asked one of their guys, does he think that it really should be black with white lining? Shouldn't it be tan with white lining? And he reckons it should be tan with white lining. So I've now emailed the NRM, which is actually the Science Museum, to check that they haven't painted it black and white by mistake, and it should be tan and white like all the other carriages. So that one I have to wait, because yeah, I did mention it earlier. But also the LNER Coach Association, based at the North Yorkshire Moors Railway, has, and they're restoring, an extra long CCT van. I thought, that's handy. And also, which I've also part of another one of my videos, instructional, is they do an LNER fish van, those white ones, which later in the 60s turned blue. So I asked the bloke, what colour are the wheels on that? Because they ran on express trains, you know, to get back before the fish went rotten from up Whitby and Aberdeen and wherever. And he says, no, they're just black. Oh, that's a shame. So anyone who's got these as well and wants to run these with their Gresley Teaks, it's just black. Okay, so you know that, which is easy enough to do. I suppose I'll use a satin black again. Satin seems to go on easier than, well, it shows up nicer. You don't want it totally a weathered brown. You could do, but you still start off with the original. It's always, I find it easier to weather something. You paint it as if it was brand new, and then weather it just like you would a real one. Don't try painting a kit weathered from the start. Try to. It seems to work better when you do it for real, like a new one, and then weather it back bit by bit, including the rain streaks. That is actually a bright white roof, as white as that, and then you can see the difference when you buy it from Hornby. It looks quite like a toy. It doesn't look like a model. But that was the first wagon I dared weather, and thought, well, the smoky bits at the end and the rain streaks and what have you. Yeah, actually worked out quite good. Not bad for one of my first attempts at weathering a more modern thing anyway. So I thought I'd tell you about the black wheels.